Hello, everybody. This is the More Media Records Off the Air podcast. I'm your host, Isaac Coons, and I am joined by my co host,
Devin Foot.
And before we get into our topic that we're going to discuss today, I would like to give a quick spiel on what More Media Records is all about. More Media Records is a student-run record label here on Central Michigan University's campus. We meet on 7:30 p.m. on Thursdays, and there's a lot of stuff that we have in store. In particular, there's a sampler album that we put together every year with various different bands, and then we have a huge concert for it at the end of the year. So if you're interested, go ahead and get in touch. Now, today we have a very interesting topic that we've kind of been mulling over for a while at this point.
Yes, I think we accidentally came across the subject back in, I want to say late March, early April.
Possibly, about a year ago.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting thing to talk about. And I'm not sure how it came to be. I think I was playing a lot of Far Cry 5 at the time, and I was just like, this would be an interesting thing to discuss.
Yeah.
So today we're going to be talking about video game music. Now, necessarily we're not talking about video game music in the sense of like video game OSTs or scores or anything like that. Particularly what I want to touch on is how music is integrated into games, like how already created music is put into a game in order to serve its atmosphere for a player. Now, the number one thing I wanted to bring up, particular in terms of games, is the GTA series. The Grand Theft Auto games have this very interesting way of interpreting music to enhance the environment through the guise of radio. So, listening to the radio in GTA 5 is one of my favorite parts of playing that game specifically.
It's so much fun.
It's
one of my favorite things to do when driving around in
San
Andreas or something like that.
And there's a huge amount of different radio stations to select from.
A surprising amount of stations.
Yeah, I can't name a ton of them off the top of my head, but you've got Los Santos Radio.
There's an outlaw one, I think. Johnny Cash Country.
Yeah, is. There's Nonstop Pop, which is a particular favorite of mine for when I'm causing havoc on the road.
Yeah. There's it came out in I want to say 2015 or so. It was like something X or something. I can't remember.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it was like a hip hop rap station.
I'm trying to think if it was that or like punk rock or something. Channel X. I think that one might have been a punk rock station.
I can't remember anymore. It's been a while since I played.
It's been a bit for me too. I actually had it on PlayStation Plus and it got removed, so I don't have it on my PS5 anymore.
No? Oh, come on.
I have it on my PC, but the thing is, it's not my PC. It's my family computer, which is at my house.
Fair enough.
Which is 2 hours from here.
Oh, I bet Grandma likes to play it whenever she's on.
I guess. So, I really do think GTA 5 is one of my favorite games, and that is in no short way due to the lack of... Okay, let me restart my statement here.
Yeah.
That is, the music makes the game great, even though the game is already so good.
Yeah.
And I like how the music is integrated. I like how, specifically on the PC release of the game, there's a self-radio feature.
Is there really?
Yes, it's my favorite part of GTA 5 on the computer, particularly the version that I had on the Epic Games Store, but I'm sure it works for Steam or anything else like that.
I can imagine.
But yes, it's basically a function where you can put like MP3 files into like a game's data folder.
Oh, really?
And so you can use self-radio and you can set it up so you can listen to your own MP3s through like the radio in the car.
That's so cool.
I played around with that for a long time.
I didn't know you could do that. That makes it so immersive right
there. I know, and it's already pretty immersive.
Yeah.
And you also have the options to switch between just like regular radio where it like plays one of your songs, and there's like the built-in ads that are in the game for like the fake products in the game world.
Yeah, or like the political ads.
Yeah, Yeah, or you can just like have it just play all the music straight up without any interruption,
That's cool.
which is a really nice feature. And I always wonder how stuff like that can be integrated into as many games as possible.
Yeah.
I've never seen another game do it quite like GTA 5 does. Again, I'm not a huge gamer, but I am enough of one to be like, this should be in more things.
Yeah. I'll say I'm with you. I'm not much of a gamer. I haven't played video games in quite a while, but when I see when I see or hear something that's like, this needs to be out more, like, I'll be very vocal on that.
Yeah. Yes, that is a very important thing. Is there a particular game that does something with that kind of music integration that you really like?
I was gonna mention GTA 5, honestly.
Yeah.
It's just such a prime and like perfect example of it. But
Yeah.
uh, I'll say I haven't played any like new releases or anything like that, so I can't give any 2 cents about the the new things. But I would have to say that uh, the Fallout series is really good.
Yeah.
It gives you those old timey songs of like
Yeah.
the Chordettes or
Yeah.
like something you'd find on Dick Cavett Bandstand.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you just feel like you're this character from the 50s, like trying to survive a nuclear fallout.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I really do like the atmosphere that Fallout sets with the music it
Yeah.
chooses to put in there,
Mhm.
because that's become a prime part of Fallout's brand
Yeah.
at this point. Like there are certain songs that I'll listen to in like GTA 5 and I'm like, "Oh, that's a song that could be in any GTA 5,
Yeah.
any GTA game,
Yeah.
any game that includes things like that." Like Saints Row the Third, which I've played, has a kind of similar thing to GTA 5 with
Yeah.
its radio station, but it's not nearly as immersive because there's only like a handful of songs to pick from. And they're kind of like, in a way, they're kind of like picking at the leftovers of what GTA 5 had already taken. But no, it's just you can take like there are certain songs in GTA 5 where it's like that could work in Saints Row 2.
Yeah.
Not Saints Row 2, Saints Row 3, but the one that I've played. But, you know, like with Fallout, you can hear like a certain song and be like, that's a Fallout song.
Yeah. Like for example, I was scrolling through social media, and every fall, this song comes on called "Teddy Bear Picnic."
Huh.
It's an old song from like the 30s or 40s or something like that. But when you listen to it, it's it makes you feel like you're in Fallout during like a Halloween season.
That is really neat.
And I highly suggest you listen to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll look into it later. What's it called again?
I think it's called the Teddy Bear's Picnic.
Okay.
Or something like that.
All right. I'll take a mental note of that.
Yeah.
And you know, I mentioned Far Cry earlier.
Yeah.
I also, because around the time I came up with this idea was when I was playing Far Cry 5. And the thing about that game is that there's a lot of like licensed songs put in there.
Yeah.
But there's also some original songs too.
Yeah, so it gives it a nice balance.
It's very balanced in that sense. There's, and you know, every game has original music and licensed music, but what I mean is in the sense of like getting radio play.
Mm-hmm.
Songs were made for the radio stations in the game, which obviously took a lot of effort to put together, but I think it worked very well. And this is just based on my experience. They could have had stuff like that in the other Far Cry games, but Far Cry 5 was the one where I heard it and was like, "Oh, this is really neat."
I think there's some in 4 as well.
There might be. I mean, I'm not too familiar with 4.
I've only played it a handful of times, so I can't really remember a whole lot from that.
Yeah. Could have been in 3 or 6.
Yeah.
Other Far Cry games. But the idea, so the main plot of Far Cry 5 is that you are trying to liberate this county in Montana from a cult that runs the area.
Okay.
And so their radio station has a lot of cult propaganda-esque stuff on it. and there's songs on there that are originally made for the game
Yeah.
that are like basically worship songs for this cult that are being broadcast over the airs, and they're actually weirdly good.
Oh yeah.
They're really good. And there's also another song that isn't like a cult, like pro cult song, but it's like anti cult. It's called I think it's anti cult. I haven't listened to it in a while, but it's called "Keep Your Rifle by Your Side,"
Okay.
and it sounds legitimately like something that people would listen to like riding into battle.
Oh, that's funny.
It's
like
really,
a marching song almost.
not a marching song.
No?
It's like more country-esque.
Oh, okay.
More like that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
It's still pretty cool. But there's also licensed music. Like one time I was liberating an outpost while playing Far Cry with my friend Mason, and Fortunate Son, I think, was playing on one of the radios, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't know they had this." And then I shot the radio because who wouldn't? I mean, I love that song, but I still really wanted to shoot the radio to see what happened.
Whenever I hear Fortunate Son, it just makes me remind me of the movie Platoon.
Yeah. Some folks about all right. Let's move on.
I want that on my MP3 now.
Yeah. You know what? I'll mention this later. I want to get your opinion on some other things. Did you want to mention another game that has like integrated music that you like?
I was gonna say it doesn't have any song. It's more original scores than anything.
Right, which is fine.
Which I think is just every time I play it or like watch videos of it, I love it. It's Red Dead 2.
Mm-hmm.
And
which is made by Rockstar, the same people who made GTA. I'm sure most people already know that, so I'm just like saying something we all know, but
yeah, I mean, there's people who are not gamers that aren't aware of that.
Of course.
But the soundtrack for that, I play it whenever I'm driving to Central sometimes, just like cranking up the stereo just to blast out some tunes from Red Dead 2.
Yeah.
But even from the first game, it was also pretty good. It reminds you a lot of like spaghetti western movies.
Mm-hmm. Which is a good vibe to capture.
Yeah.
Which is nice. In particular, I have that same general opinion about a lot of Valve games.
Yeah.
Like Portal, the Portal series, and Team Fortress 2. They both have really, really good soundtracks that I do listen to a lot in my spare time. And then, of course, there's Undertale, which is a bit more on the abstract side of things in terms of like what we were talking about at the start of the podcast.
Yeah.
Honestly, that goes for all the soundtrack stuff we're talking about, but it still remains to be mentioned as an honorable part of like making an atmosphere with your game music.
Now I'm kind of curious. If for those video games that have a soundtrack or like a score beside and not
like an OST,
do you think it would be a bonus or like a negative for the video game to have real songs into the game?
Do you think so? I get what you're trying to say. Do
Yeah.
you think that if a game like
let's go with Red Dead 2. Like if that for some reason just had Fortunate Son playing as you're robbing a train station.
Well, okay.
Like, would that ruin the game?
That's different.
It's an extreme question, but it's a question nonetheless.
The way you're forming the question makes it sound very off-putting, and I dislike it heavily.
Fair enough.
But if you were to put like Johnny Cash outlaw music into Red Dead, that would make more sense.
Yeah.
However, I do believe that could be a detriment to Red Dead, just because
it's set in like the 1800s. And
right,
all that.
Of course, that as
and
well.
And having that giant anachronism would be kind of weird.
It would be, but that can be done right.
Yeah, it can be
like,
done right.
There's pieces of media that, and not just games, but pieces of media that will go outside of time period.
Yeah, no, Quentin Tarantino does that a lot in movies.
As does the Baz Luhrmann movie Elvis.
Yes.
I think there's like a Denzel Curry song in that movie apparently. Like a
Maybe it's
there's
been a
also
while
but
since
there's
I've.
also a Doja Cat one.
Yes.
There's just a lot of like recent
Yeah,
artists.
her rendition of Hound Dog. Yeah,
Yeah, it's just very out there, but it fits his style.
it does.
I mean, he's the guy who made Romeo and Juliet with freaking 90s.
Oh my god, I've seen that movie.
I have too. I watched it in ninth grade English.
Same here. For me, it was 10th grade, but yeah.
Yeah, no, same general period of time.
Yeah.
Yes. But I believe that the way that I don't know, it's hard to think how things could be better if you were to compare them
Hmm.
if they already happened.
Yeah.
Like I could go back to before Red Dead came out and be like, "Huh, I wonder if this game would be better with already made music
Yeah.
instead of music made for the game." And we can wonder about that all we want, but honestly, I'm just glad we got what we got. Because
Yeah.
Red Dead looks like an amazing game. I myself have not played Red Dead or Red Dead 2, but they both look incredible. I have friends who love those games. I might actually have to check. I probably will end up checking it out
Yeah.
sometime just because it's been on my radar for so long at this point.
You're gonna have to. That's
Yeah, I figured as much.
For sure.
And when it comes to like, sorry, I was laughing earlier because I was imagining Undertale with like licensed music, and I'm like, okay, that would not work.
No.
That would not work because one, Undertale is an indie game.
Yeah.
If Toby Fox had to get the rights to a bunch of
That
songs,
would be expensive.
it would be expensive, especially for an indie dev. And also, use your brain. It's like a 16-bit game. Why
Yeah.
would it have like this? Like if I was listening to Katy Perry's Roar while fighting Sans, that doesn't make any sense.
But there are musicians that'll turn pop songs into like a 16-bit like video game style.
Right, I know, but like if I take into consideration the music that was in Undertale and think about what anybody could have gotten if
That
they
is
put,
true,
like,
yeah.
I literally barf in my own mouth. And it tastes really bad. I don't like it, Devin. All right. But yes, but in terms of that musical integration and the things I would like to see in like a game, and the one game that I wish I could have that kind of feature with are the PlayStation Spider-Man games.
Ooh.
I personally have my own Spotify playlist just to listen to while I swing around the city. And I would like something like that integrated possibly into a video game.
Okay.
Where it's not just getting in a car and having access to a radio station.
Yeah, it's just this always present, like,
well, not always
present,
but I was thinking like an MP3 feature where
Okay.
like the main character has their phone and they can
Yeah.
go into an app and listen to music.
yeah.
And it can be music from the soundtrack, it can be music from whatever you want. And sure, that would be a huge licensing nightmare, I assume, but
I can imagine.
companies have done it. People have done it. And in the GTA games, they already have a phone.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if GTA 6, when that comes out, has that feature.
If it comes out.
It will come out. It will come. We've waited long enough, and
It's been over 10 years, man.
I know, but they have a trailer and a release date and da 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 da. But
The trailer makes it look promising.
it does. It looks very.
I'm very
good.
curious to hear what the radio is going to sound like.
I think that they're gonna do a lot of new stuff with the phone in that game.
I can imagine.
Simply because, like, in 2013, when GTA 5 came out, phones weren't, like, they were a thing.
Yeah.
Like, there's a cell phone in the game, like an iPhone, but it's not nearly as...
You know, it was like, let's see, 2013. I think the iPhone 5S came out or something.
Yeah.
Because I have one. That's the reason why I know that.
Exactly. They're not the most advanced phones out there, but, with,
No, but
like...
for their time, it was, yeah.
Exactly, but I really think you could get a lot done if you had a phone in a game where you could access music.
Yeah.
And I think in GTA 6, they're planning on having like a TikTok spoof kind of app.
Are they really?
Well, if you watch the trailer, you can see like TikTok live footage, like fake TikToks, obviously, but it's not
a parody, yeah.
But yes, but that's what they're best at. I think the GTA games are great at parody.
Yeah.
So having something like that in a GTA game, or like my personal dream would be a Spider-Man game where Spider-Man just so happens to have an iPod, which, I mean, big dreams there, but it is what I want in a game.
Honestly, having Spider-Man have an iPod and just casually having him like flick his way through the
Do they still make iPods?
No,
No,
they were
yeah.
discontinued in on. I just saw an article actually earlier today. I think it was May 10th, 2022.
Oh wow,
It's very recent.
yeah, that's way more recent than I thought. I thought
Yeah.
they stopped making them in like 2014 maybe. I don't know.
No, that was like when fourth or fifth gen came out for
I don't
iPod.
know. I just say iPod as a general blanket term for device that plays music.
Oh no, if you're talking about like MP3 players in that
Right.
like in that case, they still make those. But iPod in particular, yeah, I know that was just a couple years ago they discontinued it.
Okay, that's good to know. I also kind of wonder, because I was talking about Spider-Man. This kind of brings me down the Marvel train of thought.
Okay.
There's already a Guardians of the Galaxy video game. I
Yes.
have not played it. I wonder if maybe this feature already exists.
You get your Walkman as you're playing.
Yeah, I wonder if this feature already exists and I just like don't know about it. And if I'm wrong, somebody can prove me wrong. But is there a feature like that in the Guardians of the Galaxy video game? I'm gonna say
not so sure.
I don't think there is.
I've never played that game, so I can't say.
I downloaded it, but it was like a cloud version, so it was
Oh.
like it didn't work, so I just didn't bother playing it. But yeah, but in general, that's my thoughts on kind of how music is integrated in video games.
Yeah.
And we touched on like video game scores, and we touched primarily on pre-made music for
Yeah.
video games, and I just yeah. Is there anything you want to add?
But I want to say sometimes I've noticed anyways having like for example in Fallout Country Roads became a very big hit.
It did.
Or it became a big hit again, I should say.
Yeah, yeah.
Since it's already fantastic. But I'm just curious about how many songs have gotten popular because they've been integrated into video games.
Oh, that's a good question. I'm glad you brought that up. I
Like,
can think about that.
Because I never heard of Johnny Cash's The General Lee until I started playing GTA 5.
There are a lot of songs I discovered through GTA 5.
Yeah, it's such a good example of
like GTA 5 put out an album of music that was made originally for the game by certain artists. So like there's an original Tyler the Creator song that was on the GTA 5 soundtrack that was really good. I think A$AP Rocky did something that was really good. I have a bunch of songs from that soundtrack in my Spotify. So I want to think about that because there definitely were a bunch of songs that probably got kind of popular afterwards.
Yeah.
I can't think of any specifics because I hear a lot of music on those radio stations.
Yeah.
But it's kind of there are some things that have become like a cultural like if you hear like a certain song with like you'll think of like the clubs in GTA 5.
Yeah.
And things like that, So it has formed like a cultural identity in that way. Fallout, I think, has been the best at forming a cultural identity. Yeah. I mean, when they made the Amazon Prime show, they had to get those songs in there.
You had to.
And they delivered.
Yeah.
And it was great, in my opinion. I love the first season of Fallout.
I said, was it good? I heard it was like quite controversial because like they were like adding new lore that should be in there.
But like I think that's fine for like a show separate from a video game, even though they do claim it takes place in the same universe, and there are some things lore-wise that don't add up.
Yeah.
But at the time that I watched the Fallout thing, I've only played like maybe 10 minutes of Fallout New Vegas.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't know too much about the lore. I looked into it and I'm like, there are ways this could fit and make sense. Yeah. So I'm just gonna wait for season 2 to come out.
I was just about to ask if they've been greenlit for a second season.
Oh, they done been green.
They done been.
They done been they done
Right.
they done been greenlit. And I'm excited to see where they go with it. But yes, this is about music.
Yes.
And I'm excited to see what they do with the music in that second season as well. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I don't think so. I think that's pretty much all I had to say, really.
All right, cool. Thank you for listening to the More Media Records Off the Air podcast. This has been Isaac
And Devin.
and we will see you later.